You can't just turkey baster yourself with your own semen. It doesn't work like that. Like I know like that's probably what you're thinking if you're watching this video. But unfortunately, because your body is already used to your own type of semen, you need to get semen from another person, which is going to have different micronutrients that your body is lacking, right? Because if you already have access to all the micronutrients that are specific to you in your genetics, then you're not really going to benefit that much from turkey basting your own semen into your ass, right? It doesn't work like that. Yo, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to talk about the best foods for bulking on a budget. So bulking is great, obviously. And if you want to bulk, what's the main problem? Is that bulking is expensive. Because you have to buy more food and you have to eat more food. And the more food you buy, the more expensive it's going to be. So if you want to bulk on a budget, I think these are some pretty good choices here. These are just my top 5. I don't know, maybe you have different ones. If you have different ones, let me know, leave me a comment. So the first one is Coke, all right? Like, in my opinion, I mean, we'll get to some of them in the later slides, but in my opinion, Coke is pretty much the best food for bulking. And it's if it's not the best food, it should be like the base of your bulking cycle, right? And there's 2 reasons for that. Number one is that it's an amazing way to get a lot of calories, right? I don't know exactly how many calories are in this, but Coke is full of sugar. And sugar is not, it's not that sugar has so many calories per gram. It's not necessarily what that is. But when you drink a lot of sugar, or when you eat a lot of sugar, or when you eat a lot of carbs, there's something that happens in your brain where your brain doesn't tell your body that it's full, right? If you eat a bunch of fat, you'll get full pretty quick. If you eat a bunch of protein, you'll also get full, not as fast as if you ate fat, but you'll still get satiated very quickly. But with sugar, you'll actually be able to keep eating or drinking nonstop, and your body is much, much slower to tell you that you're actually full. So that's number one. And the second thing is that it raises insulin, which makes you super anabolic, right? So like, anabolic, it's this kind of buzzword that gets thrown around a lot these days. But really what it means is that your body goes into building mode, I guess you could say. It's like building muscle and storing fat. So when you have a lot of sugar, it makes your body go anabolic. Really, it makes your body release insulin. That's why like a lot of people think that anabolic just means building muscle, and that is true. It does mean building muscle, but it also means storing fat. But, if we're bulking, we don't really care about getting fat. It's like you might as like you're going to get fat anyway. It's like you're going to be fat 8 months out of the year, but I guess you're going to build as much muscle as you can. Plus, it's kind of fun to bulk. You get to drink Coke and whatever, eat pizza and all that shit. It tastes pretty good, Coke. I mean, I'm personally not a fan of Coke just because I grew up on Diet Coke. So the taste of regular Coke just tastes kind of awful to me. But it's very cheap. You can get a 2-liter bottle of Coke like this for $1 in many places. Coke is also vegan, and it's also fat-free, which is good. The less fat that you have, the less full you're going to get, so the more calories you can consume, which is one of the reasons why it's really good for bulking, because you can actually consume more calories. It forces your kidneys to work harder, so your kidneys will actually become anabolic, and the more mass your kidneys have, the more efficient they'll be at breaking down certain foods and extracting the nutrients of those foods, which will make it better for bulking also. The next one is carrots. Oh shit, I just realized I'm probably in the fucking corner here. Oh no, all right, I'm in the right spot. All right. Carrots are also really good. For those of you who do not know this is like an old school bodybuilding trick, right? So you guys have heard of like Vince Gironda's like eat 36 eggs a day. It's like a D-ball cycle, right? It's like everybody, I mean, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people have heard that. But another one of the things that he used to say is that if you eat carrots, it's like a mini D-ball cycle, right? So like eating 20 carrots a day is basically the same thing as taking 15 milligrams of D-ball. And like I've done this. I can promise you this is 100% true, right? I'm not making this up at all. This is for sure true. Try eating 20 carrots a day, or we have it here. It's this like clever acronym. You don't really see this that much anymore, but it's called COCAD, which is kilo of carrots a day. If you eat a kilo of carrots a day, it's basically like eating or like taking 15 milligrams of D-ball. And that's what metandienone is, right? Which is D-bol. It's also there's some other word for it. I forget what it's called, methyl something, but I don't know. I always just know it as metandienone. Carrots are highly anabolic because of all the carotene that they have, which is why they're called carrots, and also what gives them their orange color. And as we'll see in some of the later slides, all orange foods are good for bulking, right? So no, let's just get to the next one. All right, so the next one is oranges. Oranges are also very anabolic, right? Like something that people don't know, nature will actually has kind of a color coding system for foods where they will color code certain foods that are good for you or that do certain things for your body. So for example, orange foods are all very anabolic, right? Things like yams, you guys have heard that before, right? Yams are very anabolic. You eat like wild yam extract, or testosterone, like synthetic testosterone is actually made from yams. So that applies to carrots also, and it also applies to oranges, right? So this is actually, it's nature's way of showing us which foods to eat to get bigger, right? And one thing that a lot of people, don't know now, because like what's the controversy with farmers is that they'll give their cattle antibiotics to fatten them up, right, to make them bigger. And that's because antibiotics are really cheap. They can get them. It's basically like a synthetic chemical that's created in a lab. But what they used to do is they used to just feed them oranges, right? They used to mix in oranges with their feed, the corn and soy and like all these other foods that are really cheap and cause cattle to grow much faster. They would mix oranges in there with the feed, and it would cause them to fatten them up. Now, today antibiotics are really cheap. They do have a pretty big markup because it's big pharma and they want to make money. But to actually synthesize anything is actually really cheap. So this is why you see bodybuilders always eating oranges, right? Rich Piana, right? Like he was, some people say he was on steroids. I'm not really sure. Anytime I watch his videos, I always saw him eating like oranges. Like pretty much every video he was eating oranges. Who else? Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's lots of videos of him eating oranges. Chris Bumstead, known for eating oranges all the time, because they're very anabolic, right? And a lot of people also don't know this, but vitamin C, right? Everybody says like, oh, vitamin C is really good for you, boost your immune system. But what does the C stand for? A lot of people don't know this. It stands for catabolic inhibitor, right? So you guys have heard of myostatin, right? Myostatin is basically is it an enzyme? I think it's an enzyme that inhibits muscle growth. So if you inhibit myostatin, it will inhibit the inhibition of muscle growth, right? So it's a catabolic. It's not a catabolic inhibitor, I guess, because catabolic means breaking things down. But anyway, that's actually the scientific term for vitamin C. It should be called vitamin catabolic inhibitor, but nobody actually wants to say all that. So like we just kind of shorten it to vitamin C. Okay, the next one is semen, right? Now this one obviously is like a little bit weird, but semen is actually very good for bulking if you can get your hands on large amounts of it. Now there's special ways, or I guess, and there are not really special ways to do it. Like everybody knows how you get semen, right? But the fact is that it contains over 100 micronutrients and growth factors, right? So this is one of the reasons why they say that like, you can look up these studies if you want, that women who are regularly, it's called inseminated, right, by their partners, they're in a better mood, they're healthier, their skin looks better, their hair looks better, they're just overall more like healthy and vibrant looking. And that's because semen actually contains lots of different growth factors and micronutrients and minerals and vitamins and like all of this really good stuff that as men, we produce. Now, that's also one of the reasons why when you ejaculate as a man, you feel really bad because you're losing all of these growth factors and vitamins and minerals, which would otherwise just be reabsorbed into your body. Now, one thing that people don't know about professional bodybuilders is that and I think there was an article about this, I think it was like Muscle and Fitness a long time ago, where they talked about how they had to shut down certain gyms because a lot of the bodybuilders there were having gay sex in the gyms, like anal sex, exchanging their semen, right? Because like you can't just turkey baster yourself with your own semen. It doesn't work like that. Like I know like that's probably what you're thinking if you're watching this video, but unfortunately, because your body is already used to your own type of semen, you need to get semen from another person, which is going to have different micronutrients that your body is lacking, right? Because if you already have access to all the micronutrients that are specific to you in your genetics, then you're not really going to benefit that much from turkey basting your own semen into your ass, right? It doesn't work like that. But what you do, this is like a key anabolic method that I'm pretty sure most professional bodybuilders use, especially the ones who do the Olympia. They will, some of them are gay. I mean, I think most of them are gay. I think most bodybuilders are gay, especially professional ones. But, the ones who aren't, they do the turkey baster method, but you have to get somebody else's semen. That's the key. And then, they'll either exchange it or they'll sell it. I think the actual price of bodybuilder semen these days, like pound for pound, is more expensive than gold. I don't know. I haven't actually, this is just what you hear from forums online and stuff that you kind of casually pick up. But, anybody who knows anything about that, feel free to leave me a comment. Now, here's the thing, is that in order to get the benefit of this, it needs to be consumed intraperitoneally, right? Which basically means through your rectal cavity, in your ass, basically. Or if you're a woman, I guess you can put it in your vagina if you want to do it that way. It's also a thought, right? And the reason for that is that semen is actually destroyed by the digestive tract, right? So your stomach acid breaks most things down very well. That's what your stomach is for. And that's why, for example, certain drugs, they need to either be injected or insufflated or, consumed intraperitoneally, because if you just try to eat them, if you just take some testosterone and you eat the testosterone, it's going to get broken down in your stomach. You're not going to get any effect from it, right? And that's because semen does not cross the blood-brain barrier, right? The BBB, which is basically that kind of, metric. I can't think of the word right now, but anyway, certain things that if you can take it, if you can swallow it and break it down in your stomach, it will cross the blood-brain barrier. If not, then you need to think of some other way to do it. And you could try injecting semen into your muscles, but I don't know. That seems a little sus to me. So some of the things that semen actually contains testosterone, contains HGH, human growth hormone, has amino acids, zinc, also has nandrolone, otherwise known as DECA. In very small amounts. So basically, if you consume enough semen, it's basically like doing a cycle of nandrolone. And hundreds more. It would take me way too long to list all of them. And then we've got here this clever acronym GOSAD, which is gallon of semen a day. But that's kind of unrealistic. A gallon of semen. I don't know. I mean, I could think of some people on YouTube who probably consume a gallon of semen a day. I won't name any names, but yeah. Anyway, the next one, pizza. So pizza is a great bulking food. And, it kind of is a combination of the last, or it's kind of a good bulking food for the same reason Coke is a good bulking food. It's very easy to consume a lot of it. It's very high in carbs and sugar. And it's just really easy to get all the calories that you need, because everybody knows that it's all about calories in, calories out, right? So if you're bulking, you just need more calories. You don't need to actually pick and choose which foods you want to eat, because that doesn't mean anything. All you need is the calories, right? That's all it comes down to. It's calories in, calories out. If you're eating more calories than you're consuming or than you're burning, then you'll gain weight, aka bulking. If you're burning more calories than you're consuming, then you'll lose weight, or cutting, right? It's very high in enriched flour, which is anabolic, right? There's a reason that in the United States for the past 80 years, they've been enriching flour. And you can't just buy, I guess you could just buy normal wheat flour, but why wouldn't you want those extra vitamins? I think in places like Europe, they don't use enriched flour, but I'm pretty sure that that's just because Europe is too poor and they can't afford enriched flour. Enriched flour is also very anabolic. It'll actually help you build muscle faster because it's enriched with vitamins. It's also high in processed cheese. Now, the reason processed cheese is anabolic and good for you is because it's so heavily synthesized in a lab that your body has to work extra hard to break it down. And that's actually causing the muscles of your digestive system to become much more efficient at extracting the very few nutrients, because I mean, it's not necessarily important that there are nutrients. It just matters how hard your body has to actually work to extract those nutrients. And with processed cheese, there's not a lot. I mean, there are like a fair amount of calories, but there's no real nutrients in there, because most processed cheese is made from pasteurized milk, which completely destroys anything other than like the basic burned out food components of, I guess, like fat or maybe protein if you get the high protein cheese, which is really just still heavily processed pasteurized milk. So, but anyway, it's super anabolic because your body has to work really hard to break everything down. And then it's also high in nitrates, right? And this is specifically, like, I only added this because he's eating pepperoni pizza here. So pepperoni is basically pork that is also heavily processed, lots of nitrates and salts. And the reason why this is good for you is because it makes your heart work much harder to pump blood. Because all of those things, what they do is they constrict the blood vessels in your heart and they make it work much more harder. So what ends up happening is your heart grows, which is very healthy. Like having an enlarged heart is actually better for you because it becomes much more efficient at pumping blood through your body. So you can train harder, you can lift more. And one of the best ways to do that is by eating large amounts of pepperoni or other foods that are high in nitrates to actually get that anabolic effect on your heart. Another thing about pizza, just one thing to note if you guys want to actually do this, is that it must be consumed hot. And the reason for that, like, I know it's tempting to eat cold pizza, right? Like you eat the hot pizza and then maybe you don't want to eat anymore, so you throw it in the fridge because cold pizza is okay, right? But if you've noticed, you can eat a lot more hot pizza than cold pizza, right? Like if the pizza's hot, you can eat like half a pizza. You can eat like 6 slices, you know, or more if you're really hungry. But if it's cold, like good luck eating fucking 6 pieces of cold pizza. That shit will sit like a rock in your stomach. And the reason for that is because when it's hot, your body is able to metabolize it much faster. And the additional heat will increase blood flow to your muscles as well and will make your muscles grow faster. So pizza is a great food to eat post-workout. Good to know. Okay, guys, that's my video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I need video testimonials. So I'm giving away 20 copies of my fitness course for free, The Minimalist Guide to Fitness, in exchange for a video testimonial. All right, so all you have to do is make a video of you talking to the camera and saying, oh yeah, this guy, he's really amazing. He's got all this great information. Whatever. Just like, I'm not saying make anything up. If I actually have helped you and you've learned anything from my channel, just, talk about that. It doesn't have to be that long, like 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, something like that. And then I will give you lifetime access to the course, which eventually, now it's only $40. I'm offering it for cheap because like, I'm just kind of rolling it out. But in the future, it'll be like $200-$300. All right. So if you do that, you will get access for it for free. You can either email me at yala.poppy@gmail.com or comment below. Or you can check out this little link right here, which I will add in the description to actually read about the course and see what is offered in it. Cool? Peace.